Huskies had back-to-back weekends home here at the Herb Brooks National Hockey Center. Now they'll be on the road for another non-conference series. Welcome into your edition of Husky Hockey Weekend Preview. I'm your host, Nick Spiliopoulos. Last weekend against Princeton, Sam Hentges continued his hot streak by scoring a power play goal and assisting on the other two goals that the Huskies put up on the board. The power play was a well-oiled machine as they went 2 for 5 on the power play, but that would not be enough as Princeton would put 5 goals past David Rennick to give the Tigers the Game 1 win. Saturday, Huskies got off to a fast start, scoring the first goal of the game and continued to go back and forth with Princeton. Chase Brand scored his first career collegiate goal and Tyler Anderson got his first career collegiate point on a Jake Wallen goal, but Princeton would manage to come back and tie the game. In overtime, the Huskies had 1 minute and 54 seconds on the power play, but were unable to capitalize, leaving the game with a final score of a 5-5 tie. As for the Huskies, they will have one more non-conference series before they begin NCHC play. This time they will be on the road headed to Marquette, Michigan, as they will be taking on the Northern Michigan University Wildcats. Last year, Northern Michigan came to Minnesota and the Huskies swept them with final scores of 5-0 and 4-1. As they head into the weekend, Northern Michigan has played 8 games this season with a 6-1-1 record and are averaging 4 goals per game. The Wildcats have split time between their 2 goaltenders, and combined they allowed just under 3 goals per game and a .901 save percentage. The Huskies come into the weekend having played 2 fewer games. This year's Huskies squad is averaging 3 goals per game. Sam Hentges leads the way for the Huskies and in the NCHC with 5 goals, 6 assists for 11 total points. Joining me again from the rink live is Mick Hatton. Mick, as we look forward to this weekend against Northern Michigan, what's something about Northern Michigan that the Huskies can exploit?
Well, that's a really good question because right now Northern Michigan's off to a very good start. It's 6-1-1. They've got a win and a tie at Boston University. And, I don't care who you are, you're not an average team if you're going into BU and doing that. One of the things about Northern Michigan, that's maybe a little bit of a question mark right now is they're kind of splitting time with their goaltending. They have 2 guys, John Hawthorne and Nolan Kent, that are splitting time equally. Their save percentages are overwhelming, so I'm not sure exactly how closely they've been tested, I guess, here in the early going, so maybe that's an area, but Northern Michigan's a team that's got some offensive firepower. They got a couple of guys, Griffin Lauren and Vincent DeMay, who have 15 goals between the 2 of them. Philip Below is a defenseman for Northern Michigan, All-American 2 years ago, a guy who had 77 points the last 2 seasons. So St. Cloud State's got to play much better defensively against this team.
And you look at last Saturday's lineup changes that Coach Larson made, a lot of different changes. What can we make sense of with everything that he did on Saturday night looking at the rest of the season?
Well, one of them, obviously, Kevin Fitzgerald was out of the lineup because he got banged up a little bit on Friday night. But, other things is they're trying to get a spark into some of these guys. Micah Miller had sat out a couple of games in a row, and he was a healthy scratch those games. I thought he came out and played with a lot more spark to his game on Saturday night. Brendan Bush, he sat out a game that, again, the same type of situation where he was a healthy scratch, and then they moved Nick Perbix from that top defensive unit with Jack Ashawn down to the 3rd unit. And, they're trying to get those guys to kind of understand that they need to be playing a little bit better. And those are key guys for St. Cloud State. Those guys need to be productive, and they need to be good defensively.
And you talked about it just a little bit. Kevin Fitzgerald scratched from last Saturday's game. When can we expect to see him back on the ice?
It's hard to say. He's got an upper body injury. You can read between the lines, I guess, on something like that. But it sounded like when I was at practice that he's going to be maybe close to a game time decision. I would imagine he's going to make the trip, though.
Thanks, Mick. If you want to catch your Huskies in action this weekend, visit flowhockey.tv with Friday's game starting at 6:07 p.m. and Saturday's game at 5:07 p.m. That's been your weekend preview for Huskies hockey. I'm your host, Nick Spiliopoulos.